Hey guys, it is MissSimReno. If you are returning to the channel, welcome back. And if you are brand new, I am very excited that you decided to join me here today for another speed build. And today we're back in Del Sol Valley, a world I never build in, but did build in just a couple of weeks ago. I did a little single story home for a single mom, her 2 kids, and then her dad came to stay with them, grandpa. And I thought that was really cute. And I decided, you know what, I'm feeling adventurous. I'm gonna do something a little bit different this time. And I'm going to build kind of a retro style home. I know that this is not a new concept. Many builders in The Sims have done this already. And I think the concept of just like a retro home usually kind of pertains to like a 70s feel to the home itself. Now, I didn't go like full authentic 70s for this, but this is a style of house that I saw a lot where I grew up in New England. For me, it was a very like 80s style house. That could be completely wrong, by the way, but that was my interpretation as I was growing up. It seems like it was a pretty standard shape, if you will. I didn't do like split leveling or anything like that, but this is pretty much the shape. It came together so quickly because the best part about it is that it's a bunch of boxes. It's a bunch of boxes with like a couple of roof pieces, and it came together so easily, and I loved the color scheme, but that took me a long time. You're seeing like the 10th attempt at a color scheme and for window selection and stuff. So I ended up using these windows from Growing Together, and I love like I'm gonna call it like the lattice work in the window pane itself is kind of like an orangey wood tone. And I thought that this paneling from, I want to say it's base game, up on the 2nd floor matched perfectly. So I loved how it popped because I did want this to have a little bit more color to it. I've been doing a lot of like darker exteriors lately, and I always tend to use white framed windows just because they look the best on the interior and you feel like you don't have to match your interior colors to the window itself. I don't know if I'm the only one that feels that way, but that's primarily why I use like white framed windows. Anyway, I wanted this to be a little bit brighter. I wanted to use stone on the 1st story because that's what I've seen a lot, like some kind of stone or brick. And then up on the 2nd story, it's usually some kind of siding. And again, I wanted this to have a bit of color. I wanted the landscaping to be a little bit brighter. And I also wanted it to blend into the world as best I could. I was talking to my husband about this. It's so funny because I was showing him this house. I'm like, I'm really excited about it. It's like this retro style house. Like, what do you think? And he's like, oh, I love the house. And then we got on the outside again. He was like, wait a minute. Why couldn't you make the path go all the way to the street? And I gave him the most intense side eye. And I was like, let me regale you about The Sims 4 for a second, okay? I'm like, we don't have an open world, but we have worlds with neighborhoods that are accessible. I'm fine with that, but the issue is the style of the lots, how sometimes they'll make driveways that like don't connect or not add a driveway, or they don't put the lot right up to the sidewalk. So you can't really connect it to the world. And that's a huge gripe I have with The Sims 4. I love this game, but that is 100% a gripe that I have. But as you can see, we're now working on the floor plan, and this is a huge house. It's a really big house. So this could have been, I think it could have been a 6-bedroom. So let me talk you through this. So on the 1st floor, there is a single bedroom and an office space because I didn't want to put 2 bedrooms on the 1st floor. It didn't really work for me, and I figured I'd have more room on the 2nd floor, which I did. So there is a bedroom on the 1st floor, and then there's a teen room, another kid room on the 2nd floor, and the parents' room. So it's a 4-bedroom the way that it's built, but there is an office and then like a little bit of like a family entertainment room, if you will. So this could be, with small alterations, a 6-bedroom home if you needed the space, which is kind of nice. I haven't done a home that big in a long time. And I think there are 3 bathrooms, and they're reasonably full, whether there's like a difference between the shower tub combo or just a shower stall. There are plenty of toilets. I say plenty, but if you have like a family of 6 in here, like I made this for 2 parents. Oh, actually, I made this for a big family. Hold on. I made this for 2 parents, 2 kids, a teenager, and then I put a baby bassinet, a baby object bassinet at the end of the parents' bed. So this is for 6 Sims. And what this family would probably have to do when this baby object gets older is they would have to take the office or that family space and turn it into like a nursery or something. Unless they just wanted to keep that kiddo in their room until they were older, because thinking about it, I was thinking that they had a teen as well, and maybe in the next couple of years that teen is going to go off to university, so they could like take the teen's room and transform it into a nursery, which would kind of stink for the teen when they came back from college. But anyway, it's for a really big family. And I started with the kitchen because I knew if I started using color in the kitchen, I would bring it through to the rest of the home. And like I said, I did not want this to be like purely 70s, but I definitely wanted it to have a more retro kind of throwback feel. So I'm thinking it could be a combination of like 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. It's a very wide range, but I just wanted there to be color. I wanted there to be fun patterns. And I did try to use some more, I suppose, outdated things, especially when it came to technology, like the TV's older. Oh, and in the garage, because I have been making a fair amount of garages for single-story homes as of late, I did a garage for this one, but I was like, I'm not going to make it like a storage garage space or anything like that. I'm going to turn it into a space for the teen, and it's like a little garage band setup, which I thought was super fun. I really did. I really liked that idea. Again, not an original idea. I'm not the first one to do this whatsoever. I could credit all of the builders before me that have done like a retro style home and done like a teen garage band hangout space. So yeah, not an original idea, but I really liked it. And I thought it was a fun use of the space without just making it cluttered with garage things and like a deco car. Because I put like a deco truck out in the driveway anyway. You know what I mean? So I was trying to change things up. And here we're now working on the living room. This rug, this rug is so nice. I don't remember now in flicking through the swatches if this is from, I think it's from Strangerville, but in my head when I was looking for it, I thought it was from Get Famous. And the rug from Get Famous has some kind of nice retro patterns and swatches and stuff. Very like mid-century stuff. But that wasn't exactly the feel I was going for, and it has a lot of animal print swatches as well, which I really wasn't going to be using in this space. But I loved the living room and kitchen. I think they flow really nicely together, even though they're pretty closed off spaces. The colors really work. Like I have the orange appliances and the orangey wood tones in the kitchen, and this rug matched so nicely with this kind of pale blue swatch of that base game couch that hates to see me coming because I use it so much. But then it also had yellow, and I pulled in the orange curtains, so like I changed the pillow colors to kind of match and pull everything together. And personally, I think even though it's a bit bright for me, it's a little bit much, I thought it looked really nice. And now we're going to be cluttering up the kitchen. I added an older microwave and that little like, what are we going to call it? Like the casserole dish. There we go, from the Country Kitchen Kit. You know, I just realized the Country Kitchen Kit was one of the first kits we got, and I loved it. That's when I was excited for kits, you guys. I was excited then. I don't get very excited for kits now. I know I've been talking about it in a lot of voiceovers, but we've just been getting so many of them. And at the time that this is going up, we might already have 2 more kits. I think that's my thing. I get very overwhelmed. I can't keep track of when they're coming out and how many we actually have now. And I realize that when I'm talking about items that I'm including in builds, more often than not, I feel the need to talk about if it comes from a kit because they're so new and they just keep rolling out. There's other things, you know, like if I were to talk about this plant I put in the corner, be like, oh, this plant from Eco Lifestyle. I feel like we've reached a point where I don't have to talk about every item and the bigger packs that they come from, but I have to mention where things come from when it comes to kits because there's so many and they come out so frequently. I don't know. But I also added a lot of lava lamps throughout this build. It just seemed appropriate. Again, I wasn't going for purely 70s, but I think it fit the vibe because I think lava lamps were pretty big even in like the 60s, 70s through the 80s. I had one. I know my dear friend Rachel Pett talked about it in one of her recent builds, that she loved lava lamps and she just got one. And it made me a little bit jealous because I used to have a big like teal one that had yellow lava in it, which I liked, but then I had one of these glittery ones. So it didn't have like the blobs of lava, but it was purple and it literally just had glitter and like the glitter would move around and stuff. So I thought that was kind of neat too. I think my mom actually still has my teal one. I'd be surprised if it still works, but I feel I haven't been to my mom's in a little while now and my memory's garbage. I feel like the teal one is in her living room. My mom's got a cool house. I'm just saying. Anyway, I'm going a completely different direction here. I just decorated the downstairs bathroom really quick. I think it's the one and only bathroom downstairs, and there is a full shower tub combo, so that's really nice. Again, they have a baby object, so that means an infant and a toddler are pending, which means that you're going to need tub space somewhere. And I think I have a shower tub combo upstairs as well, so at least they don't have to take the infant all the way downstairs to give them a bath. But this is the little entryway. It's a little bit cramped, but it worked out fine. And then, as I mentioned, there's going to be a bedroom downstairs as well as an office space. And the bedroom is for a kiddo, and it really set the tone, I think, for the rest of the build, because I was using a lot of oranges and like bright colors and stuff, and I wanted to use different colors in every single kids room, as well as the inclusion of carpet. Carpet in The Sims 4 more often than not makes me sick. I don't like it. I'm sorry, I don't like it, but carpet in bedrooms seemed very retro to me. And what I did is I went for a very green and orangey color scheme in here. It was a lot, but I think it worked out really nicely. And I did carry the orangey wood tones and stuff, but I used a lot of horse ranch in this particular room, which doesn't really fit the style, but I can't say it's not necessarily retro if you don't want it, if you want it to be. Do you know what I mean? I don't know, but I loved using this rug from Cats and Dogs over the carpet, these older, like really green curtains and stuff. And I kind of went with a light dinosaur theme, which I feel like I haven't done in some time. So I used this base game picture of dinosaurs that I almost never use. I could probably count on one hand how many times I've actually used that. And not only is there a lava lamp, but I also added this like old broken lamp from the Basement Treasures kit. And I used it in a few different swatches throughout the build, because it's as retro as it gets. It's a little bit beat up, but who cares? I love that lamp. And I think that this kid I think they have a range of interests. I think they're into like athletics. I think they like reading. I put this book, it came from Werewolves. I don't remember what the title was anymore, but I got it from the debug menu. So maybe they're like kind of into werewolves and, oh, what was that? There's like a really well-known movie about werewolves that's maybe from like the 70s or 80s. There's probably a handful. I probably sound super ignorant right now because I don't know. I haven't watched a lot of 80s films. I'm a 90s baby. And okay, this is embarrassing, but I'm going to share it with you all anyway, because I need to emphasize how like disconnected I am from even the 80s. I just watched, I think it was about a month ago, for the very first time ever, I watched The Nightmare on Elm Street, like the original one. I'd never seen it before in my life. I have a friend who is like, I guess I'll say that he's a pretty big movie buff. Like he's just seen a lot of movies. He just has, and he's a little bit older than me. And him and my husband, they get along so well. And me, him, his wife, and my husband had a movie night like about a month ago. And our goal is to have some movie nights where we just go through and watch these old classic movies that I've never seen. Like, I think we started watching Alien, the original, because I know Alien Romulus just came out maybe a couple months ago. I don't know. I had never seen the original Alien with Sigourney Weaver, who I love. And so we watched that. We watched The Nightmare on Elm Street. But if I went on another tangent, if there is like a specific, very well-known like werewolf movie from around that time period, drop it in the comments down below, because I was thinking that kid is kind of getting into like that fantasy stuff. Like I feel like they're really going to get into as well, like Lord of the Rings and things like that. And maybe they see their older sibling, their teen sibling, getting into like rock music and stuff like that. And I just feel like there's a connection there. I'm thinking like Led Zeppelin and that one song where they basically talk about Gollum and Mordor. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. I listen to that song all the time, but that's kind of where my head is making these connections. And then it also makes me think of F is for Family. I've mentioned that show before. It's a hilarious adult cartoon. I personally love it. You don't have to like it, but I personally love it. Anyway, I talked through the rest of the kids' room and the office space, which just has like an older computer and some bookcases and stuff. So maybe that's for one of the parents to kind of get away from all the kids. And that's like the one little space that they have, since every other part of the house, including the garage, has been taken over by their children. So this is going to be the garage. And I added these speakers here, these big amps. And I do feel the need to emphasize where these came from, because they came from the Moschino stuff pack. They function as a stereo, but I always add one of the acoustic or electric guitars near it to make it seem like your sim is plugged in and actually playing with the amps. But they're also a nice decorative item as well. And then I added a microphone, and unfortunately that's pretty much the range of instruments aside from like a violin or piano that we have. I could have added a keyboard. What is wrong with me? I didn't add an electric keyboard like the one from City Living. Am I okay? I was like, oh, those are the only instruments we have. False. That is a lie. The lie detector has determined that is a lie, because there's a keyboard. I would add a keyboard if you'd like a full garage band, at least with the range of instruments we have in The Sims, because your girl didn't add it. She added this broken TV set. That's so silly. Anyway, this is basically where the garage band is. They've got a cooler, an old ratty couch, some old armchairs and like patio chairs and stuff, some random decorations. I feel like their band has to have like the word gnome in it or something, because I added this little happy gnome on top of the on top of the TV. I also added the portable record player from some pack I can't remember anymore. Doesn't matter, honestly. I'm losing track. But that little record player I love, so I added that as well. Even though the amps are technically like a stereo, I figured the record player was also very authentic. And now we move on to the second floor, which was a little bit challenging. Oh my gosh, wait, I forgot. Wait a minute. Oh, I was wrong about the family dynamic. I just remembered this. So we have the two parents. I'm so sorry, the two parents. You have a teen, two kids, actually, a infant, and the baby object. So it's actually 7 Sims in this house. I almost did a full house. If I had added a pet, which I did consider very briefly, you'd have a full house. I forgot because there is a full nursery in this build. I completely spaced on that. And I think they just have the baby object in their room for convenience sake, you know, nighttime feedings and all that stuff. And now the infant has been moved into the nursery, right next door. Wow, I forgot. Yeah, no, this is actually a bigger house than I thought. So we've got 4 bedrooms upstairs, a 5th downstairs. This could be a 7 or 8 bedroom house, actually. Now that I'm counting correctly, it could be a huge, huge house. And it is, and it fits, of course, the needs of the family that I was thinking of, but there's a lot of flexibility is what I'm trying to emphasize, where if you had a family in mind, but they're not this exact dynamic, there's so much flexibility, not only in the house itself, and changing up rooms, but also in like theme. So anyway, this is the parents' room, very plainly decorated. They also have a TV in their room, which I feel like would be a bit of a luxury if we're thinking about maybe the 70s or 80s or something. And then this is going to be the nursery. I almost went for the dinosaur theme again, but I didn't, but I did stick with the orange. Orange was such a fun color to work with in this build as well. It's not a color I enjoy that much. It's a bit much for me, just like I'm not really a huge fan of green. But I love the rooms that I ended up creating with those colors. Like this little nursery is really cute. It's kind of an odd shape. I did struggle with the shape very, very much. Like there's no diaper pail attached to this changing table. So I'm pretty sure your Sims are just gonna throw the diapers on the floor, but you can just drag them to a trash can. Or you can of course change up the room if you wanted more space. Like now that I think about it, I probably could have put the crib where the changing table is and put the changing table where the crib is and put a trash can. See, these are the things that happen. You watch back a build that you did and you were so in the moment trying to figure things out that you overlook something so simple. Like a very, very simple solution to a problem that you're now identifying. That's how I feel. I could have just swapped those things, but I didn't want the crib just like stuffed in a corner. I wanted the parents to be able to just walk in and see their infant in the crib instead of having to go around the corner of that wall. Does that make sense? I don't know if you'd call that convenience, but it sounded nicer to me personally. But I am still decorating the nursery. As you can see, I put a mobile up from the Storybook Nursery kit, and I also added a wall decal. I have been overusing probably that wall decal from Growing Together at this point, ever since I started to get comfortable with adding those kinds of details and decorations to spaces. I'm overusing it, and I will apologize for that because I have been overusing it a lot. But in this build, again, just like in the other builds, I think it really worked. So here we are. Now I do add some decorations to this hallway space off camera just because it was a big house and I really had to think about what I wanted to put there because I wanted something to be functional, but I also just wanted to add decorations that I thought worked. So I think I add like some plants, some paintings, and then I think I add one of the wardrobes from the Tiny Living Stuff pack because it has like green and orange. And I thought that was perfect. But this is going to be the teen room. And I struggled at first with the teen room. There is kind of a green theme as well, just like with the kids' room downstairs. But I was trying to find decorations that would fit this general time period as well that I was considering. So of course added a lava lamp. I can't not have a lava lamp at this point, especially in a teen room. And this is the teen that's really into music. Now I didn't go super, super heavy with decorations like that. Like I did reuse this poster that kind of looks like the Pink Floyd album cover. I also added this tapestry of a llama just to kind of get to that edginess, if you will. I added the portable record player up here as well as this headset from the Comfy Gamer Kit. because I was thinking maybe they got like this newer record player where it actually has the headphone jack, and they got really excited because now their parents and their siblings don't get mad at them for constantly playing their loud records, and they can just sit there and listen to them themselves. Thought that was kind of nice. And they also have a television in their room. Again, I feel like would be a bit of a luxury, and a gaming console. Let's think that it's one of like the very first gaming consoles, like an Atari or something like that. But I know it resembles the GameCube. It's the one that we got with the event rewards. I don't even remember what event that was anymore. Doesn't matter. I also added some posters. We have this traffic cone. Maybe they're a little bit rebellious. Maybe they commandeered this traffic cone on school grounds or something. I don't know. And then I add this kind of beat up bookcase. They do have a trophy from football, so maybe at one point they played a sport. I don't know. Just trying to think of little touches. There's also that pile of like study materials from high school years. And I think that electric guitar with the skull and that kind of like red tone, I feel like that's their prized possession. So they have a guitar downstairs, of course, in the GarageBand space, but this is the one that they keep away from like their friends and their siblings and everything. Maybe it was a gift they got when they were younger, and they have treasured it ever since. I don't know. I also added the Sims 2 poster. I know the Sims 2 isn't that retro. Okay, I was around when the Sims 2 came out. I was like a preteen, okay? But again, for me, that's more retro, so I just thought it would be kind of fun to add that there as well. And this is when I add the bassinet as well. This is when I was thinking of, all right, we're really going to expand this family. And then this is going to be the second kids' room, and I did struggle with this. I really wanted to use this bed from Horse Ranch in this particular swatch, but I do end up changing it, I think, to a different swatch. It was still really cute, but it was difficult to nail down a color scheme for this one. I really did struggle, and I think I kept most of that struggle in, so you could kind of see me taking some things out, putting some things in, trying different combinations, and it was really this teal color on the comforter that I felt like I couldn't match. Same with the purple. It was just challenging for me for some reason, so I did change the swatch to this one with more pinks and yellows, and that gave me a bit more flexibility, in my opinion. And then what I also do, I don't remember if I keep it on camera or not, but I do change the wallpapers. I want to say in all of the upstairs bedrooms. I change it to the striped wallpaper, I think that we have from Base Game, I want to say. So I think I changed it to like a pink striped wallpaper in here. I want to say maybe a blue in the teen room and maybe a yellow in the nursery. I think that's what I do. It doesn't really matter. You'll see it in the screenshots, but I'm just trying to think through what I ended up changing because I did use this same like paint and paneling throughout the entire house. I tend to do that. And maybe I should ask you all, like, do you care when a build is kind of like that? For me, it makes it like really cohesive. But when it comes to bedrooms and stuff, I think some variation in like the wallpapers or paint and stuff like that is not a problem whatsoever. I tend to keep it pretty consistent through living spaces because again, it makes the house look seamless, but I try. I don't always achieve, but I try to have like some flexibility in what I end up using in bedrooms and stuff like that. So let me know if that's something that you prefer or not. Like, do you prefer actually having the same wallpapers throughout an entire build, or do you like some variation depending? I don't know. Let me know. But as you can see, I added this little tiny desk with maybe like a hand-painted chair. We've got the stuffed unicorn toy, a bookcase, and then I just add a bunch of decorations to the walls. I put some clutter on top of the dresser, and it was kind of an odd-shaped room. I laid it out a little bit weird, but it ended up working out okay. And again, the color scheme did end up coming together in a way that I greatly enjoyed. I was concerned. I was getting a little bit stuck. I'd been working on this for, I think, like 2 or 3 days. I rarely sit down and finish a build in like a single session or even in one day. It usually takes me a couple days because life, and also I can only run on so much of my like creative juice, if you will. Sometimes I just start running out of ideas and I start just doing things on autopilot. And that, I think, is when my creativity is kind of stifled. So I'll pull away if I feel the need and come back to it with fresh eyes, you know? But that is pretty much this kids' room as well. Just adding a couple more toys, like the little Dr. Teddy Bear set, a little toy box, and some other clutter items. And as you can see, I added that dresser, and now I'm adding some artwork and stuff to this hallway, just to give it a little bit of pizzazz, if you will, a little bit of something, because there was nothing here, and that's really boring. So I added that big clock from Base Game. Almost never use it unless I'm doing a retro build because of the style and everything like that, but I thought it looked really nice, so I added that in the corner. And when I play tested it, sometimes when you put those at an angle, they do block your Sim's ability to walk by. It didn't do that for me, so hopefully it doesn't do that for you. It worked fine for me. Now this is gonna be like the common family space. I always go for the Don't Wake the Llama table, to be frank. It's a great crowd pleaser, and because there were so many kids and young children in this build as well, and I didn't add a pet, I thought having the quasi-pet of like a hamster or something, I don't even remember which one I chose, I just went by the swatch. I don't know if this is the hamster, a mouse, a rat, whatever, but it's a huge item. It never fits in kids' rooms for me, and these rooms were a bit small, so I added it in here. So that their family pet is just like a little rodent, which I thought was cute. The range of pets I had as a kid. I had a cat and dog at one point. Both ended up passing away when I was still pretty young, so I don't really remember. I don't remember the cat passing, but I do remember the dog passing. I was like 7 or something. But then I've also had hamsters. I have had budgies, which were kind of fun and kind of not. We've had an African gray parrot. We had rats at some point. I had like hermit crabs. I had a range of pets when I was younger. I had a lot of fun. So thinking about that hamster, I'm like, I loved having hamsters when I was a kid. I loved having hamsters, I really did. And I just never used that item, so it was a nice addition here. But now we're on to the little back patio in the backyard. I did create a pool off camera because I was really playing around with all the space I had. I didn't know how to lay this out. I also added a swing set, I had a toddler slide, some gardening pots, lounge chairs, we've got an outside grill. It's a nice space, and I think I pretty much made use of a majority of this lot because it's big. I think it's 30 by 40 or 40 by 30, whichever orientation, it doesn't matter. It's a big lot, and they have a pool, which is pretty luxurious as well, with some floaties and stuff like that. But hopefully you all enjoyed this one. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts, and I will catch you next time I post a video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.